Did you know that the Cloud City duel above Bespin was not actually the first time Luke Skywalker and the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader, met in lightsaber combat? This is true. The two actually confronted each other face to face and locked blades years prior to their battle in Cloud City, just a short time after the Battle of Yavin and destruction of the first Death Star took place. Before we continue any further, I want to make it clear this is 100% canon and actually occurred in the new lore of the Star Wars universe. In one of many missions carried out by Han, Luke, and Leia, they made the decision to infiltrate an Imperial weapon production facility in order to destroy it. This base was known as Simoon 1. The three rebels went in disguise, with Han posing as a representative for Jabba the Hutt, and Leia and Luke posing as bodyguards assigned to protect Han Solo. Side note, in Return of the Jedi, Lando Calrissian also wore a very similar disguise to this, and it was likely this first infiltration mission that provided them with his disguise in that film. In order to enter the facility, Han said he was sent to negotiate over weapons, but as soon as he, Luke, and Leia successfully entered the base, they began their raid. In order to destroy it, they needed to overload the power cell of Simoon 1 so it would explode. Along the way, the three of them also took time to free slaves that they encountered that were imprisoned there by the Empire. However, they never managed to reach the power cell since due to the commotion, Vader also arrived on the base and informed its entirety of the breach, making the plan for the rebels a much more difficult one to execute. In order to counter the arrival of the Dark Lord, the rebels changed their plan and stole an AT-AT walker as an alternate means of escaping and way of destroying the base. Before the walker itself actually made it to the part of the base it needed to destroy, Luke was met in a corridor directly with Darth Vader. For the first time, Luke saw Vader face to face, and Vader him. Vader briefly made a comment in the way Luke held his lightsaber, saying he was sloppy and held it like a child would, and that he was no Jedi. Luke became enraged at the sight of the Sith and proclaimed that he had killed his father. Vader then told Luke he had killed many fathers and that he would need to be more specific. Luke then charged at Vader, and for the first time their blades clashed. Following this with ease, the great strength of Vader forced Luke to the ground. Luke began to stand to his feet, saying that Vader killed Master Obi-Wan on the Death Star and Luke had witnessed it all. Luke then reared back for another blow at Vader, but his lightsaber was torn from his grasp and into the palm of Vader's. Vader told Luke he needed to inform him of the current attack on the base and lead him to the pilot that destroyed the Death Star, which ironically we know was Luke himself. Luke told Vader he would rather die, and Vader responded, "So be it," raising both blades to strike the young boy down. But something stayed Vader's hand as he caught a glimpse of the blue-hued weapon he was holding. Vader paused and looked at the blade, seeing he knew the lightsaber. It was once his own. The massive walker then smashed through the roof of the corridor, separating Luke and Vader. Han used the AT-AT to smash the walls of the compound, allowing the slaves and Luke to retreat. During this time, the rebels in the Empire began to fight, with Vader joining the fight as well, killing several fleeing slaves. The walker then turned its attention to Vader and attempted to smash him, but with the use of the Force, Vader slightly picked up the walker off the ground. The rebels were eventually driven back, and Vader personally dismantled the walker piece by piece with his lightsaber. When the dust cleared, the compound was dealt a crippling blow, and the rebels had retreated, and Vader was left confused. Because of this, he then decided to hire Boba Fett to find the pilot that successfully destroyed the Death Star. Boba found his way to Tatooine and eventually heard the name of the pilot was Luke Skywalker. Boba then relayed this information to Vader, and Vader became enraged that he was not told that he may have had a son and Padme successfully gave birth to a child. So there it is. That was Darth Vader and Luke's first duel. Not much of one, but it is still significant since this was the first time they ever met face to face. This was in reality one of the shortest duels I have ever seen. Luke's strike didn't even move Vader in the slightest, and during the blade lock that followed, Vader didn't need any momentum to push Luke to the ground. This actually wasn't much of a duel at all, although it technically classifies as one. Vader and Luke actually only touched blades once during the duel. Then Vader ripped the lightsaber out of Luke's hands. I do really like the story that goes along with it though, and learning where all these characters progress and end up with them not knowing it is quite the experience. I love that Vader in the new comics has not been nerfed at all, with him destroying an AT-AT walker immediately following meeting Luke. I also adore when he tore Luke apart and told him he looked really silly when holding the weapon and that he has no clue how to use it. This meeting also adds a ton to the Bespin duel, with Luke better holding his own during blade locks and Vader echoing in that confrontation that this time the Force was with Luke but that he was still not a Jedi yet. An obvious callback to his exchange with him in this fight. It's also a great touch that Vader doesn't discover who Luke is right away, or even sense his power, with him not even knowing that he was the one that destroyed the Death Star. When they first met, they were in completely different places and mindset. Instead of Luke feeling for his opponent and father, he does not know, and therefore all he has is rage for Vader for killing his father. Vader also sees Luke for the first time, and feels he holds no significance, even telling him he would not be worth the seconds it would take to kill him right there. So there it is, that is the real first duel between Luke and Vader, and their fight on Cloud City was not actually their first. So tell me how you feel about it. Have you read the Canon comics, and do you like that this was their first encounter and duel, or do you disagree, and always viewed Bespin as the perfect jumping off point? Leave all thoughts and insight in the comments below. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.